What is up, everybody? We are back after a very interesting Sunday at the U.S. Open. Nobody wanted to win except for JJ Spawn. Pretty wild. He bogeyed 5 of the first 6 holes. And that little rain delay, kind of got him going again. Made a long putt on the back nine, then made another one. Then obviously just needed a 2 putt on 18. It was a very long putt, and he made it. So congrats to JJ Spawn. It was fun seeing him celebrate with his family there on 18. And yeah, crazy finish. I didn't see Spawn winning a major anytime soon. I kind of felt like it was going to be between Burns and Scott there on the back nine, but neither one could end up, hitting the shots that they needed to. So at one point, I think we had a 5-way tie at +1. I was kind of hoping for a couple guys being in the mix there at the end, but yeah, congrats to JJ Spawn. Ended up being a decent week for me from showdown perspective. My main lineups weren't great because I didn't have a lot of Spawn. Victor Hovland, Sam Burns. Didn't really have a ton of guys at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, let's dive into this week. We have another signature event on tap. This one is the Travelers Championship. So it's going to be held at TPC River Highlands. It's a par 70, just over 6,800 yards. So this is one of the shortest courses on the PGA Tour each and every year. It's also one of the easier courses on the PGA Tour. We typically see the winning score around 20 under par, maybe a little bit lower than that. And then in terms of difficulty, typically one of the 10 to 15 easiest courses on tour. And it was designed by Pete Dye. So the fact that it's, short par 70 doesn't really play into the bomber angle. And typically, like most of his courses that he designs, it's more of a second shot golf course. The driver usage percentage here last year was only 59%. Compared to that, the PGA Tour average is 69%. So certainly more of a less than driver course. And that's because the rough is pretty thick and difficult to play out of. A large part of that's just due to the trees and the fact that your angles are going to get cut off if you don't hit the fairway. And then also the fairway's narrow at 300 yards. So they're going to be a lot wider if you're hitting the 250, 275. If you're trying to hit driver, the fairways are going to narrow. So you're going to see a lot of clubbing down this week. And for that reason, Data Golf has driving accuracy bumped up way up in their course fit model. And I'm kind of going with that too. So my off the tee metric is going to be good drive percentage and driving accuracy. And that definitely led to some interesting results, which I'll get to here in a minute. Strokes gained approach is going to be very important. These greens are very small, but they are easy to hit. So last year we saw, I think, 73% of greens hit in regulation, and that's well above tour average. So even though the greens are small, guys are hitting these a bunch, and that places a big emphasis on approach play because if everyone's hitting greens, it's going to be a contest to see who can get it closest and then who can make those putts. I don't have any way to green regulation just because it's not a hard course, and green regulations, a lot of the field is going to hit them anyway. Strokes gained around the green, up I have it at 3%. Strokes gained putting, have it at 8%. I don't mind bumping this up a little bit. Typically when we see these birdie fests, typically when the green regulation rate is high, it often turns into a putting contest. I have 5% to birdie or better, and then 3% to bogey avoidance. Course history, it is pretty sticky. I only have it at 4%. If you want to bump up course history, you certainly can. Bubba Watson has a great track record here. Brian Harmon has a great track record here. So guys that play well here in the past tend to play well here again moving forward. I have 4% to short and easy courses. Let's take a look at the guys that played the best on these courses over the last couple of years. Justin Thomas, Scotty Scheffler, Russell Henley, Eric Cole, and Patrick Cantlay. Less than driver courses over the last 2 years. Guys that play the best: Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Justin Thomas, and Ludwig Oberg. And then guys that play the best on Pete Dye courses: Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, JT, Harmon, and Patrick Cantlay. So some similar names there in the 3 different comps that I'm looking at this week. I have the top 5% and top 10% finishes bumped up a little bit, and that is because this is a no-cut event. There's only 72 golfers in the field. So you definitely want to chase some upside this week. And then I have the last 3 months just on a raw strokes gain standpoint. I had that 8%, last 12 months at 6%, field strength at 6%. So let's get into the overall ratings at the very top. No surprise, we have Scotty Scheffler. Kind of thought he had a chance there on the back nine. He got it to +3. If he could have gotten the lead in the clubhouse, he could have put some pressure on Spawn and the other guys that were still in the mix, but ended up bogeying 18. Still finished T7. I think that's 8 straight finishes in the top 10 with 3 wins during that stretch. Won here last year, rates out well in all the comps, number 1 in the stat model. The problem with Scheffler is the price point, so I like him. I'm going to have plenty of exposure to him, but I also don't mind the balance builds. If you can find a winner that's not Scheffler. I do think it's going to be a good week to go balance. But again, fading Scheffler is always a scary bet. So I'm not going to do that fully. I like Russell Henley at 8,800. So he's number 2 in the model this week. He's ahead of Morikawa. He's ahead of Xander. He's ahead of Rory. Rory down at 10 is a huge surprise for me. That's probably because I'm weighing on, good drive percentage and driving accuracy. And, his biggest strength is just bombing the ball. So probably going to be underweight on Rory. The approach game hasn't been that great. He's kind of lost some motivation recently too. So 11.5. I'm fine skipping Rory. I do like Scheffler. I do like Henley, guy that very good on approach, very good around the green, very good at hitting fairways. Kind of the same thing for Morikawa. He's not quite as good around the green as Henley, but a good ball striker. I think both of them make sense at a course like this. Patrick Cantlay loves this course, loves all Pete Dye courses, missed the cut at the major. No surprise there. He, for every reason, just can't get it done in majors. So good week to bounce back for Patrick Cantlay. I also like Sepp Straka. He's a guy that I tend to be underweight on, but I'm going to be overweight on him this week. So he hits a ton of fairways. He's been solid on approach, one of the best in the field. He's actually been, pretty good when it comes to greens and regulation. And then he's a good putter. So a guy with winning upside when he does have those good weeks. And his biggest weakness is around the green. And if everybody's hitting these greens at a high rate, I don't think we have to worry about his, scrambling all that much this week. Tommy Fleetwood's going to project well. He's probably good for a top 20 finish. I don't know what his upside is. Xander, no strong take on Xander. JT, I'm somewhat interested after 3 kind of bad weeks in a row for him. Tends to like PGA courses, tends to like these shorter courses, back-to-back top 10s here. So he's a good tournament play for sure. I do like Lowry. I liked him a lot last week, and he was just awful. Couldn't get anything going on Thursday, and then, he was +9, so he was kind of behind the 8 ball. Tried to, get aggressive early, and it kind of backfired on him on Friday. So I think it's a good bounce back week. He's very accurate off the tee, very good approach player, very good around the green. Just all comes down to that putter. And I think it's a course where he can have a positive week putting. Keegan Bradley in the Northeast, I'm always playing him. I'm going to be fading Spawn coming off of his first major win. Just got to think it's going to be an emotional letdown for him. Could be wrong on that front, but I'm willing to take my chances with the full fade of Spawn. Sung Jae projects well, but man, the approach numbers have been so bad. I don't know. He's like just scrambling and putting his way to good finishes, and I just don't know if I want that at a course that's going to be really easy and where guys are going to be giving themselves a bunch of birdie looks. Ben Griffin's interesting. Been playing some great golf. I love Aaron Rai at 7,500. Another guy, very accurate, very good on approach. Hovland and Burns both were in the mix on Sunday. Kind of both, had letdowns. No strong takes there. Probably prefer Hovland given his course history, but probably not going to have a lot of exposure to them. Berger and McNeely. Berger's had great tee to green numbers this year. The putting has been really bad recently. And then McNeely is kind of just solid all around. So if you want to play either of them, don't mind it. Moving down, Poston, I feel like it's a really good course for Poston. Brian Harmon has 4 straight top 10s here. I think he has top 10s here in 8 of the last 10 years, which is pretty impressive. Siwoo Kim's got the good course fit, but he's not got the best course history. He is playing some good golf right now, so I'm probably going to be overweight on Siwoo. Bud Cauley, I think it's a good course for. Glover's cheap and a good ball striker. Nick Taylor's been playing pretty well recently, and a guy that tends to string together good finishes. So I'll be overweight on Taylor. I'll be overweight on Ryan Gerard. Trying to see if there's anybody else. Harris English is the one year before. He's been playing a little bit better recently. That'll probably do it. Eric Cole, I think he's interesting for tournaments. But yeah, that'll do it. So good luck to everyone at the Travelers Championship. Should be a fun week. Pretty good field. And yeah, best of luck. We'll catch you back here next week. Hit the thumbs up button if you don't mind. See you.